right, good morning, Wareham, and it is Friday, February 21st. We have a great show here for you, the news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, Selectman Alan Slavin will join us during the coffee segment to talk about some town issues in addition to just nibbling on the proposed town budget. And we have two great guests for you for the first half of the show, and they are some of the founders and the owners of the Lucky Goat Brewery that is to come to the town of Wareham right here on Main Street. They are going to talk about the brewery company. They are also going to discuss about the opportunity for the residents of Wareham to invest in the company. So all of that here for you just in the moment. But first, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay tuned because the news headlines and the weather report are next. Well, food donations pour in at 11 Gibbs Avenue in Wareham, the home for the First Congregational Church. This week, the church collected more than 200 cans of soup and food for families and students in need. Soup cans will be donated to Damien's Pantry, and the Stage Weekend backpack project that provides backpacks filled with easy to prepare foods to children from lower income families. And making new friends at Minot Forest Elementary is just as easy as sitting on a bench. Buddy Bench is the newest addition to Minot Playground, a space for students to go when they do not know what to do during recess or if they want to look for new friends. The bench is a handcrafted gift by Philip Duane. The bench is decorated by students' handprints and carries several inspirational messages about friendship. And in another student-related news, keeping warm thanks to a mitten tree. A tree decorated with mittens, hats, gloves, and scarves is helping to keep students at Minot Forest Elementary nice and toasty this winter. The idea was conceived by transitional resource provider at the school, Don Underhill, after noticing that some kids lacked appropriate winter gear. With the help of $500 gift grant money from the Cape Cod 5 Bank, Underhill says it will help further the program. In a statement, he said, if we can keep the students warm and healthy, then they will be with us at school. And a new design details revealed during Thursday night's school committee meeting. Groundbreaking and foundation work are expected to begin next month. Construction for the new elementary school is expected to be done by October 2021, and students are scheduled to move into the new building by January of 2022. The town still faces the controversy over naming the new school, an argument that hopefully can be settled by the residents of this town during the April town meeting. An early primary presidential election starts on Monday, February 24th, and it will go on until Friday, the 28th. Voting will take place at the town clerk's office at Town Hall, 54 Marion Road. The primary election will be held on Tuesday, March 3rd from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So once again, that is the early voting. for the primary presidential election, starting very soon there, next Monday, going on until Friday. And the Board of Selectmen have ordered an aggressive dog to be neutered and go through training following animal control officers' recommendations. A 1-year-old blue cane corso, a family dog owned by Samiati Finn, is notorious at biting 3 people, one of them a male serviceman, a 12-year-old girl, and a neighbor who suffered multiple broken bones on her hand as the result. The dog owner has purchased a dangerous dog signs, a muzzle, and a secure pen for the dog to be in outside. The pen will also have a cover so the dog cannot climb out. This marks this morning news weather headlines. Stay with us because the weather forecast is up next. Well, it's going to be a sunny weekend out there, really. You shouldn't be worrying about anything. It's going to be cold tomorrow, chilly as it is this morning. We're talking about 31 degrees for a high this morning, north winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight with low around 21 degrees. Southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunshine will follow us to tomorrow, high at 44 degrees, winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Of course, clear skies at night tomorrow with low around 26 degrees. The same good news goes to Sunday. The temperatures in high 40s, and we're looking at 47 actually for high. It's going to be closer to 50 degrees. Very interesting. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, mostly clear skies at night with low around 30 degrees. So right now we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have our first guests, and they are the founders and co-owners of the Lucky Goat Brewery Company that is proposed to come on Main Street here in Wareham. So we'll be right back.
Today's cell phones are not only an extension of our arms, but a life tool. Hello, I am Maureen Farrington from Advantage Custom Apps. I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.app. And then, once you bring up the web link, you have the opportunity of adding WCTV's app to your home screen. Once you download the app and save it to your home screen, you will then have the opportunity to, with the touch of a finger, hit the call button, which we call WCTV, the refer us button. You can refer the app to your friends and families. There's a Facebook share button if you'd like to put that on your Facebook page as well. And here is the menu tab. On the menu tab, we have YouTube videos, new program proposal, events that WCTV is hosting, a photo gallery, contact button, and can lead you right to their website. We also have a shop local tab. When you touch on that, you'll see the local businesses that you can frequent. Also, there's an About Us tab telling you some information about WCTV, their hours and directions. This here will take you right to their Facebook page. There is a donate button if you would like to donate to WCTV, and a join button that will let you join their community. Many local establishments are listing their business on the WCTV app. And you can too. It's a great way to showcase your business to your existing customers and your potential new ones. For a nominal fee, you could list your business on the Shop Local tab as well. A percentage of that fee goes to fund a scholarship for an outgoing senior. So be in the now and get the WCTV app on your home screen.
Well, welcome back. So it's not the coffee segment. Right now we have two guests from the Lucky Goat Brewery that is expected to come here in Wareham on Main Street, right next to the CVS Plaza right there. And so we have brought them in the studio to talk about their brewery company and the investment opportunity that apparently today is the last day. Welcome.
Welcome. Nice.
So, Caitlin Hurd?
Yes.
And Aaron Perry?
Yes.
Okay. And I hear that this is your dream.
It is. It's been in the works for, I can't tell you how many years.
Wow.
I've been trying to figure out how to do it, and we finally found a partner, and now we're going to actually pull it off.
Very good. There's been a lot of talks about bringing a brewery right here in Wareham. Some talks about renting space at the Tremont Nail complex there.
Yeah.
So why did you guys decide on being on Main Street?
We just thought it would be awesome to. I've lived here for about 18 years, and we want to try and help with the revitalization of Main Street and try and bring businesses to it and more people and
We learned
tourists.
learned about the opportunity of the space opening up and a possibility of a partnership with the landlord who owns the property now.
Oh, is he the third partner?
No,
Okay.
he's not. But it was just pretty much just stars kind of aligned as far as it coming to fruition for everyone. So.
Well, it's great news for everybody on Main Street because that building, which used to be the fish market,
Yeah, the old
right?
fish market.
It has been closed for how many years now?
Quite a
Somewhere
few
between
years.
8 or 10.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and it's very sad to see businesses such as that, close the buildings right on Main Street.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a good vibe
Right.
at all. So I'm glad you guys are going to be going in there. So let's talk about the challenges. What's going on? You just met your goal today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep, we had a fund, like a, what do you call it there? Like a crowdfunding, and we hit our goal today.
How does that work?
It's a social community platform where it's a company called Mainvest out of Salem, Massachusetts, and it is an investment where the people are invest their money, and then we eventually over time pay back that plus a little bit more. So it's to help support our success and able to grow. So people from all over, I think, the country, they market out to. Close friends and family as well. So just people who are really supportive of the Neenah Brewing community and also of the area. Just put in as little as like $100, and that helped us reach our goal to help rebuild or rehab the building as it is. So
What was your goal?
we were shooting for $50,000.
$50,000.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And when I was reading your story, you had quite a. You have raised a lot of money, but there's still a chunk left.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what is your deadline in order to submit everything to the town, like to raise the money?
Well, we've raised the money that we were aiming for already, and that ends today. And then right now we're still going through the process of we have like one other permit to get through the town, but the variance has been approved. So that's mostly we're pretty much almost there as far as getting all the paperwork done.
As far as our licenses, we've got our federal license to brew, and we're just waiting on the Massachusetts license, which should be coming in probably within the week.
Very good. I can't wait. When are we expecting all of this to be done?
We're shooting for
Memorial Day, hopefully.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. So
You're talking about this year, Mama?
this
Yep.
year, yeah.
We are going to have a glass of beer right there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, this time just got interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought marijuana was it. Now beer.
We got both ends of the street
I
covered.
know, great. Oh my God. So, I mean, yes, you said this is your dream, but I mean, is it so, how hard is it? I imagine it's really hard to get into this competitive field.
It is, which is also why we wanted to put it here, because there's nothing between the Cape and, I don't know, probably Easton.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a spot where there's no beer.
And how are you going to differentiate your beer? How is it going to be different and even better than what we're getting from stores?
Well, even Aaron's style of brewing is a little bit different than the other people in the area. I think it's mostly recipes and
Yeah,
experience.
I've been brewing for 24 years.
Wow.
At home.
At home.
Yep. Doing 11-gallon batches. And I have books full of recipes that I've created over the years. So we got a lot to pull from.
And what kind of flavors are we expecting? I mean, are you working at all with the region, trying to make flavors that encompasses
We're
who
definitely going to have cranberry beer.
cranberry beer?
Yes.
Not cranberry apple cider version of
No.
beer. Oh, cranberry beer.
Cranberry beer. Definitely going to try and incorporate stuff that's local.
Very good.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what are the opportunities are there apart from investing? And now you've already met your goal, so you no longer need more investors. But what other opportunities are there for people in this town to join or be part of what you guys are doing?
Just even coming in.
Let's start with the customers. Come in,
Come buy beer.
We also really want to be more part of the community as well. So through charity work or events, we want to be able to give back and support programs for the town itself. So anyone that would have an idea, or we're very open. We're always welcoming in ideas as to what we can do and what we can be a part of and things like that. So.
Very good. And where are you getting your malt from? Because we have
Stone Path.
oh, this
We're
is
already
such a
friends
cute
with them.
love story. Okay, so Stone Path Malt is the one going to be selling the malt.
Yeah.
All of it, or are you you're resourcing
Some of it
from
anyway.
Okay, some
Yeah.
of it. Very good.
Yeah, we've been talking to them for a while.
So tell me about the reception you have received from the community. There's been a lot of
It's been
good.
awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
People are really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, very supportive.
Yeah.
Because people are against opening another package store, but you guys are not proposing opening a package store. You're
No.
proposing a community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this I cannot
Been
wait.
real positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell I'm so excited?
It's something different for the area that probably is needed, just to bring some, kind of not new life, but just maybe a new spark, to brighten up the town. And, so we are a family-based kind of company. We're all from the area. Our partner as well is born and raised in Wareham. So it's just trying to, revitalize, I guess you could say, and make it more of a destination, rather than just a passing through to the Cape. I don't know if that makes sense.
Are you worried? Oh, wow, you just hinted the slogan, right? What is it now?
Better before the bridges.
Better before the bridges. Okay, it's going to be better before the bridges with you guys. Are you at all worrying about when you go to a package store? I mean, the beer is so cheap and there's a lot of variety there. How are you going to compete, not only with prices, but just
Well, a lot of it will
being
go
unique?
right out through the front door. So that should help us, because we're given the experience too, instead of just grabbing a six-pack and going home. You can hang out and talk to your friends and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Would you have to get a food license in order to have snacks or food in there?
We'll be doing food trucks to start.
Okay.
We found that probably was the easiest way to do it without going through the food, getting a food license to serve. So
Very good.
there's opportunity down the road as we go
Oh, okay.
for other ideas. Yeah.
We're not going to expect that in the opening day.
No.
No, right. You'd expect a food truck.
Food trucks.
Well, I am so excited. I cannot wait to know that this is coming so soon. Okay, the building's going to look amazing. What should we expect when we walk in?
A good time. Good music, good smells, good environment. We're, just
I'm going to be able to walk back and take a peek at the equipment.
yeah.
Very good. Now, Main Street Claus sleeps very early. What will be your opening hours? Are you guys going to obey by the typical hours of Main Street?
For the most part, we don't want to be like the last hour, like closing hour, spot for people to finish their night off. So we'll probably stay open fairly late, but not too late. So,
9, 10, somewhere around there.
we still want to be respectful
Still
for the
ironing it
area.
out.
So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations for all the great work, the public service that you have done. I cannot wait to be there on opening day. I would love to bring you guys later on closer to the opening day, and then you can talk about what has changed and all the details
Sounds great.
of what to expect. Well, thanks. To our viewers, do not go anywhere because the show has to continue. But we were just chatting with Caitlin Hurd and Aaron Perry, the co-founders. Well, there are 3 of them. One is not here, but these are 2 of the 3 founders of the Lucky Goat Brewery that is expected to come on Main Street at the Old Fish Market building right next to the CVS Plaza. So yeah, great details. Be on the lookout and stay with us. More coming your way. In a world of growing addiction and peer pressure, a local school nurse is teaching her students the tools they will need in order to combat the harmful trends. E-cigarettes and the dangers of vaping is a hot topic at Wareham Middle School.
My daughter told me a couple of years ago that kids were vaping in a class that she was in.
Consequently, she came across the Catch My Breath program, a cigarette and vaping lesson that focuses on peer pressure resistance, the dangers surrounding drug usage, and misleading advertising tactics.
It was just kind of a lucky thing that I happened to came across at the right time when I was hearing about it. And they seem very effective. So, and then now, of course, the whole vaping thing is blown up, and there's so much going on. It's even more vitally important with all these horrible illnesses that are happening.
Did you have a conversation with the students to talk about why they are vaping and what their path was to vaping?
Yes, when we first start, when I very first introduced the lesson, I have a little discussion with them. The young lady who had said that she stopped, I remember her response at the beginning, because she was quite honest about it. She said it looks cool. She said it looks cool. So there's a coolness factor that I've noticed with the advertising. And the kids, show me more. It turned out when I questioned them a little bit more, I think this was last year, they said on YouTube there's a lot of YouTubers who are vaping, and they show these tricks that look cool. And I think a lot of the young boys were encouraged that, like, oh, maybe this will help you look cool and you'll get a girlfriend, that kind of thing.
Catch My Breath program was developed by the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston School of Public Health, with the mission to equip students with the knowledge and skills they need to make informed decisions about the use of e-cigarettes. The program celebrates 2 years at Wareham Middle School. Did they seem to understand the pernicious effects of doing such a thing?
I don't think they do.
Okay.
I think that that's what it is. I think that the companies, the e-cigarette companies, have promoted the product in a way. Well, when you say vaping, for example, you think of water vapor. I know in middle school science, you know, that definitely has to do with the standards we cover. So you think of water coming off of the bay, as we see around here in the morning. You don't think of harmful chemicals. So when they see it, they think, oh, it's just water vapor. And I think the companies were encouraging that, but it's not. It's actually an aerosol. It's fine particles when you ignite it, and so it's not a vapor. It's particles that they're inhaling into the lungs, which we now know is so bad. So the kids really don't know that it's dangerous.
The program has generated earnest success. So far, 2 of her students have expressed how the program has empowered them to stand up against peer pressure and the desire to vape.
They seem quite thrilled to be informed about it. They're happy for the news, you know, and they feel kind of empowered, I would say. And sometimes if we have time at the end of the week, I'll have them make posters, or I'll say, well, do you want to do something more with this? And they say, oh, we'd like to make posters to do something to teach the other kids, because they feel they're knowledgeable now, and knowledge is power.
Now, when we talk about kids, this is the middle school. How young are these kids who are vaping?
Well, I don't hear about it. We don't really have much of a problem with it here. It comes up rarely at the middle school, just here and there, and it's certainly, as far as I'm aware, it hasn't come up as much in discipline. I think it's more of a problem at the high school, but obviously it does happen here and there, and kids are seeing it. And I feel very strongly that 7th grade especially is a really prime time to get these kids with lessons, because from what I understand about their development and their age, I work with a lot of different ages, they're just kind of on the cusp of, are they going to try it? 7th grade for some kids, they might start. 8th grade, 9th, 10th, I think the older you get up into high school, there's a more chance because they're exposed to it. But I feel this is the right age to give them these lessons, yeah.
Are you working with a nurse at the high school to further this lesson, to help those students at the higher level?
No, I don't work with the high school. We don't have a lot of opportunity to meet with them. I am, with other work I'm doing now towards addiction, I am starting to work more with the high school on that. And of course, the e-cigarettes fall under the category of addiction because of the nicotine in it. So I am wanting to do that, and I am looking forward to do that. I've made some connections at the high school, and that's something I'm working on now.
So when we're talking about addiction, you talked about vaping. Also, I'm thinking substance abuse, such as alcohol.
Yes.
All right. Marijuana is also very big.
Yes.
Especially that now it's legal.
Yes.
What other types of addiction are you covering? Because our area and those neighboring towns around the Cape, we are swamped when it comes to opioids addiction. We have lost a lot of people.
Yes.
And some of these kids may be coming from homes where they have lost very prominent people in their homes.
Yeah.
So what other addictions or substance use do you cover, and how do you present it to them in a way that they can fight the idea or the notion of being cool, doing something for just being cool rather than being themselves and to make something better of their lives?
Yes, yes. Well, yes, it's very important. Well, the way I start off addiction is, well, we talk about addiction specifically. We talk about it, and we discuss different substances and things that are addictive, because we talk about, can you be addicted to video games, and what does it mean to be addicted? So we talk about the difference between physical addiction and mental addiction. And so I tell them that some drugs, literally alter the way that the brain works. And some drugs people can, and you'd have withdrawals if you stop taking it, as opposed to a mental addiction where you feel like you need it, but you could stop and there'd be no sign. So we talk about how marijuana can be mentally addictive, but not physically addictive. So it's two different types. We discuss that. We talk about addiction in all different forms, and we also talk about why. And on my website, I've posted, because the lists are great, what the kids come up with after we've spent some time discussing it, why you don't want to be addicted. And so they list things like, the cost and what it could do to your family, and the trust your friends might have in you, the trouble you can get in school. And I did this, I remember, towards the end of last year. One young man who was in the class, he said, wow, I never thought about all the consequences to being addicted. So we talk about the opioid addiction and how now the problem has ballooned so much because of people being prescribed painkillers from their doctors, and how that's created a whole, another level to the problem. And how kids had gone into their parents' medicine cabinets or grandparents' medicine cabinets and taken pills sometimes, just thinking, not knowing what it was as an experiment, and how that led to it.
She acknowledges that with the legalization of substances such as marijuana, one way to combat the problem is focusing on postponing rather than abstaining.
So the research I'm doing, being back in school, is showing me that a lot of these abstinence-only programs for drug education really didn't work. The DARE program, which a lot of people thought it was abstinence-only, they say that what works more effectively is teaching kids to at least postpone it, accept the idea. I mean, in this culture, honestly, television, movies, everywhere you look, if you think about it, we do a lot of promotion of drugs and alcohol and stuff that is addictive. So we have to recognize the fact that that's there. The kids see it. Of course they're curious about it. And we also kind of make it look glamorous and sophisticated sometimes. So there's a good chance that they're probably going to want to try some of these things later. So I say to them, if you could just wait, because your brain is developing. I show them this clip. We look at a couple of other pieces of evidence that speak to the same facts, and I think that does resonate with them. It's like, okay, try it, but how about you just wait? Wait until you're that much older, and yeah.
Now, these are all like viable lessons that you're teaching here. I'm thinking that what are different ways you can involve an entire community? Therefore, when you don't have your eyes on your kids, somebody else can watch them.
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad you asked that question. So I've recently gone back to school at Northeastern University, working on a doctorate of education, and the way that the program runs is we are being taught to follow a model called action research. And so what I'm going to do is work with the community. I've already made contact with Lieutenant Correa at the Wareham Police, and he told me about a drug court. So I'm in touch with a probation officer there who's going to allow me to come in and kind of see how it works. So ultimately what I want to do is work with different members of the community who are stakeholders in the problem of addiction, who work with it, first responders, programs around town that help with addiction. And I want to get their input on what they think kids need to learn, what are the lessons that even hopefully speak to people who do have addiction problems, say, what do you think maybe would have stopped you when you were younger, or do you have some advice? And then create a new set of addiction lessons that address specifically the problems that people in our town see as the bigger issues.
Welcome back. So right now we are going to enjoy some music from Brendan Mentor, a guest I had earlier this month. So take a look.
I'm willing to crash and burn, living life like we never learned. I'm ready for late night romance. I'm willing to crash and burn, oh, living life like we never learned. I'm ready for late night romance, and running through the streets and starting fires. I'm living for fast rides, no hands, and I don't want to die before I'm young. So even if we have no chance, you know that I'm ready to crash and burn with you. Red sun, salt water dripping, haze. Stick shift, summer, Sahara, chains. We ain't alone. Blue lights on the horizon, dust clouds filling the sky. If they get the cuffs on us, it's 25 to life. Run, run your own direction, I'll lead them down a different road. And it's not over until it's all been said and done. If you leave now, you'll never know how much it hurts. It hurts. So good and so bad. It's all that. Yeah, you're all I want. You're all I need. You're everything, everything. And how can I stand here with you and not be moved? You take me down, spin me around. You got me running all the lights. Don't make a sound, talk to me now. Let me inside your mind. I don't know what you're thinking, sugar, but I just got that feeling, sugar. No, and I can hear the sirens burning, red lights turning. I can't turn back now. So hold on tight. I know I loved you then, but you'd never know. So I played it cool when I was scared of letting go. I know I needed you, but I never showed. And I wanna stay with you until we're gray and old. Just say you won't let go. Say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. Say you won't let go.
Hello, and thank you for being with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And now for a moment in history, let's take a look at where we were today in history. All right, this is not a laughing matter, but here it goes. Today in political history, Karl Marx published his Communist Manifesto in 1848. He wrote about how revolution was soon coming to Europe and how the working class should rise up against the rich class. His work would later inspire Vladimir Lenin to lead Russia into a communist system and change the course of world history forever. And also today in race history, NASA was founded in 1948. NASCAR. NASCAR, short for National Association for Stock Car Racing, is now bringing billions of dollars and pleasing fans throughout America. Bill France, Sr., was one of the founding fathers of this company, and he has organized the new league of races. Its first race occurred in 1949 with 13,000 people coming to watch the 200-lap race. And on this day in Olympic history, Dick Button won a second gold medal in 1952. This men's figure skater was the first American man to win the gold in the figure skating in 1948. He returned 4 years later to snag another one for the USA. Mr. Button would retire from competitive skating, but would still perform with the ice capades after his time in the Olympics. For today's birthday, shout out goes to actress Sophie Turner, turning 24 years old today. Sophie was born in Northampton, New England. She is best known for playing Sansa Stark in the Games of Thrones. And that is all for this morning history segment. To learn more cool historical facts, you can go online under history.com. The coffee segment is next, but first let's take a look at our events calendar. Welcome back, and now it is the coffee segment with me, Selectman Alan Slavin, here to talk about the Wareham Task Force, and also the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2021. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning.
Fun Day Fridays.
Fun Day Friday. All right, so you said that there wasn't much to talk about, but here comes the Wareham Task Force.
Okay.
Who are they?
It's basically you'd have your police department, fire department, board of health, and inspectional services. And they have what they call a border survey. When they have a property that's a problem, the border survey has to go out and inspect, and they can make a decision that it needs to be torn down. Then it has to go to court as well. So it's a long, involved process. Everybody, for a long time has complained that we don't do anything in Wareham. We have these rules and never enforce. Well, it's now being enforced more. But the problem is it takes time. It could take a year to 2 years sometimes. And again, if a person pays their taxes, and if the place is run down but not a safety hazard, there's nothing you can do about it. We don't have any zoning bylaws that have things that have to look a certain way. Some towns and certain areas have, the height of your grass has to be only so high and things like that. We don't have any of those zoning bylaws.
So this task force was formed in 2019, just last year.
Officially.
Officially.
It's always been unofficially there,
Okay.
because this border survey makes up these people. So all it is now is they're just becoming more active. They're meeting on I think a couple times a month or as needed. So you're just hearing about it more now because it's becoming active.
Okay. So you mentioned that our zoning bylaws do not, or makes the work a little bit harder to enforce these codes in this town.
No, we can enforce the codes we have.
Okay.
But people expect that, they see a place that's run down a little bit, and I hear it all the time. Well, why don't you do something about it? Well, the bottom line is you can't, because there's nothing legally you can do unless it violates a zoning bylaw or something like that, or a health issue where the building isn't safe, etc.
Okay. So are these some of the changes or things that we can include in our zoning bylaws?
That would be up to the planning board if they want to bring things forward. That's where it has to come from. But as we have now is, you know, when you go to court normally, you go to the magistrate or whatever at the lower levels, it's really difficult. The person can say you can't make it. It gets delayed for years sometimes. You can't do much. As an example, we have the building on Main Street, the old Cornwell, the left-hand half of the Cornwell, you know, furniture, et cetera. The back side of the building is collapsing. There's stuff blowing off the roof and damaging cars, et cetera. And it's an issue. The owner of the building has not responded to the town to go ahead and take care of it. So the town is going to Superior Court, which is a level higher, to get basically to require the owner of the building to respond and do something. This particular issue here is really difficult because to take that building down because it isn't safe is probably $250,000 or more in cost, most likely more because of asbestos and everything else. The owner of the building may not have the money to do it, and the town certainly doesn't easily to pay for that either. So it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a tough one.
So going to court, which is what they are pursuing for this particular gentleman, Carl Cornwell, of the Cornwell building in 193 Main Street, also Donald McMullen of 16 Wareham Avenue, and Richard White of 2838 Cranberry Highway, 3 buildings in violations, and they're going to pursue a court order to make these owners at least respond. So if the money is the challenge, then what happens? Is it even necessary to go to court?
Yeah, because you have to find some way to get them to respond to do something. And unfortunately, you have to go to court to do it.
If they say we do not have the money, what happens next?
If the court says you have to do something, they're going to have to find a way to do it.
How long do these cases take place?
When you say how long, what do you mean?
How long? Meaning, okay, when they go to court, how long until they get justice or they hear the final order?
Well, when you actually get your court date, you'll have that hearing that day, and the judge will normally come down with a decision, unless he has an issue that needs more information.
Wow. So these, the Wareham Task Force, well, the selectmen voted to allow them to pursue this case to court.
Yeah, basically, because when they go to court, you know, it's the town council has to do it. So that's what their recommendation was, and that's what we do.
Why did they want to pursue this in court? What kind of challenges were they facing with the land?
There was no response from the landlord at all.
Okay.
That was they basically had, you know, marked the building off. They sent him a notice and everything else. He's not responded.
Wow. Now, is the town considering maybe some funds to help take care of these types of buildings when money is the issue?
Well, we don't have anything in place really that's easily done. Again, because the town doesn't own it, you could take the building, you know, and basically you would own the land, etc., with eminent domain or whatever. But then you have all this expense. So unless the land, when it's cleared out, is worth enough to sell again to redevelop, it doesn't work well. Redevelopment authority has a certain amount of money available to it. But in this case here, this will be an exceptionally large expense.
So how dangerous are these buildings? We have one woman here who I think her offense is she's operating a business in a residential district. The Richard White, not woman, gentleman, Richard White, the owner of 2838 Cranberry Highway.
Yeah, well, that means they're violating, you know, the zoning laws, and the business would have to close down, etc.
So no demolition there needed?
Not unless the building is deemed to be unsafe.
Okay.
And that the Board of Survey does that.
Very good.
Easy.
Easy said and done. All right. So now we can move on to the town budget. That you said that it's currently balanced and something may change. It may change given the April town meeting.
Well, you're required by law to have a balanced budget, number one. So the budget as presented by the town administrator is basically locked in at this point. The problem is that at the state level, they haven't actually voted for their 21 fiscal year, you know, budget actually. So it hasn't been done or whatever. And usually it doesn't get finalized, unfortunately, till May or June. And therefore, come the fall town meeting, we may have to make some adjustments. If they make adjustments, we get less money than we expect.
Okay. So this year's budget is higher than last year, and that happens because expenses go up.
Yep.
So
Not necessarily.
not necessarily.
No, the problem is that you have to have enough revenue, to basically take care of your budget. You're allowed to increase the base of the tax rate by 2.5% plus new growth. So that's where your increase comes in. But if you're level funded, which means you're getting money almost at the same level as the year before from the state, what happens then is you have to probably decrease services, which could be laying off people or doing stuff. So this year we're able to have a small increase, but not a lot.
Are we laying off any people this year?
On the town side, most likely not. On the school side, there may or may not be. They were looking for, I think, 1.5 million or more, and I think they got like 800,000.
So actually, speaking of the school, they were expecting that the school funding formula was going to bring more funding into our school, but that proposition went down, and they're looking at less than $30,000 in state funding.
Yeah, the way the formula was put together, even though they're supposed to be revised, we're a mini entitlement community, but basically if you have a certain amount of what we call low income in your town population, et cetera, this is a $1.5 billion program that the governor brought forward over like 5 years. Unfortunately for Wareham, because of our high-end waterfront properties, it really adversely affects the formula, et cetera. And I was under the impression we had 50% of the kids on, a food program at the schools. I'm being told it's almost 100%.
Yes.
Which is kind of disappointing. So therefore, as an example, Milton, which had some student growth, but they had $1 million increase by the formula, the new version. That's a town that really doesn't need $1 million more for their school system.
How come Milton was able to secure that and not Wareham?
Because of the way the formula works. It makes no sense.
Isn't it Milton a affluent community?
I just said that.
Okay, I'm completely baffled. I thought I understood these things better.
No, like I say, the way the formula is set up.
So what are they taking into account? Aren't they taking to account the closer to 100% of our students who are dependent on school meals?
No, if you have a school system which is funding it, what they call the minimum student aid, you're getting a $30 increase. That's all you're getting. Wareham, as an example, with the last DESI report from 2018, says Wareham is actually funding from the minimum, with I think it was 24% above the minimum. So we're actually giving more money than the minimum required, which affects us, unfortunately, in the wrong way. It should affect us positively, but it hasn't.
So how would this affect our budget?
Well,
them not getting us the money that anticipated.
It means basically the school can't do everything they want to do.
Oh, okay.
And they have to cut back.
Wow.
It's that simple, again.
Now, Derek Sullivan, our town administrator here, said that while some residents complain that the town doesn't provide many services, he thinks that what the town provides, given its limited budget, is impressive. So can we talk about revenue options here? Like, where are we at increasing revenue in the town?
You can't really do much. New growth takes a year or two. If new business come in, it's really not a huge amount of money that people think. If you have more homes and stuff built, you increase your population base. It works in both directions. You have more, property tax revenue, but you also have more expenses. Every time you add a child to the system, that's $14,000 to educate the child for the year. They certainly don't pay $14,000 in property taxes. So you actually have a net decrease in your funds. So the way you do this, as far as the revenue increase, again, is through growth, through business that doesn't require a lot of infrastructure costs, et cetera.
Oh, okay. The marijuana people are coming in this year, right? They come on Tremont now.
The problem right now with the marijuana business in general, there is, because of the change in the vaping laws, et cetera, the profitability of the marijuana business in Massachusetts has not reached the numbers they expected. There are other states that are basically more lucrative, that's the best way to put it, and I'm not sure what's going to happen overall. I think I have to give credit to the town administrator for not succumbing to everybody asking for money out of the marijuana monies, because we have no idea what's really going to happen. But the industry is in a little bit of flux in the state right now.
So what should the residents be paying attention to in regards to the budget during the upcoming town meeting?
I think everything is kind of as best as it can be. There's really nothing to look at and analyze because it's there and it's pretty straightforward. We just don't have the ability because when Proposition 2.5 came in, we had a lot of what we call summer homes or homes that are very low value. We had a lot of 5,000 square foot lots with simple homes on the beach areas, etc. So that dollar value is set and your tax levy is based on that whole setup. So every year you go up 2.5%. But when you're starting off low, you'll never catch up. If you look at the towns around us, and if you take the actual valuation versus Wareham, we're anywhere from actually 3,000 to I think $20,000 less, per house value. And when you add up like 9,000 homes, and if we were at that higher level, we'd have anywhere from I think $3 to $8 million more in revenue, even more than that some. So the towns around us have more money based on population than we do. That's why it's very difficult. It's like trying to get a community center built. I'm starting the process now, but it's hard to do. Because again, we just don't, everything's based on dollars, unfortunately.
Well, that's why we're happy to have you in the studio to always steer us straight and be honest when it comes to the dollars in our town. Yeah. I thank you so much for being with us this morning. To our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you missed us, the show will re-air this evening at 6 p.m. We'll also go on our YouTube channel, Wareham Community Television on YouTube. Just a quick announcement, on Monday, that is February 24th, early primary voting for presidential election will start. And you can check out the town clerk's office for the hours, what time they'll be open. They're open at 8:30 on Monday. 8:30 in the morning.
I think it's 8:30 to 5 you can vote.
8:30 to 5, okay.
At the auditorium in Town Hall.
Auditorium and Town Hall. So pay attention to that, and that will continue until Friday, the 28th. We'll be back here also on Friday on Monday with more for you. Bye, Wareham.